Great. I call to order the special board meeting of the Park Ridge-Niles School District 64 for Tuesday, May 26th, 2020. Carol, can you call roll, please?
Biaggi.
Here.
Pearl.
Here.
Sotos.
Here.
Salas here. Little.
Here.
Sanchez.
Here.
Riles.
Here.
Everyone's present.
Okay, we've been asked by administration to go into closed session pursuant to 2C2 under the Illinois Open Meetings Act to discuss collective bargaining matters. And this afternoon I received a request from a board member to also go in under 2C1 to discuss some of the materials that are, or some of the information that's in the personnel report with regard to employment matters under 2C1. So do we have a motion to do so?
So I move, I was the one who sent that text. So I move under C1 and C2 to go into closed.
Is there a second?
Second.
Tom has the second. Any discussion about any of those before we go into closed? Okay, roll please.
Okay, Biaggi.
Yes.
Sanchez.
Yes.
Sotos.
Yes.
Pearl.
Yes.
Riles.
Yes.
Salas, yes. Little.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, the board is back from closed session. The board was in closed session beginning at 6 p.m. this evening under 2C1 to discuss issues related to employment matters for the district, and under 2C2 for collective bargaining matters. And the board now has adjourned from closed and gone back into open, where we are going to resume the public part of our meeting. So with that, Larry, would you lead us in the pledge, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thanks, Larry. We'll move right into public comment on non-agenda items. It looks like, let's see here. Looks like we have a few attendees, a couple, although looks like most of them are staff, but we do have some attendees nonetheless. So is there any public comment, Natasha, that you've received in prior to the meeting?
We have not received any public comment.
Okay. And I'll just ask again, I'll leave it open for a couple seconds here if there's anyone on who has any public comment on non-agenda items. Otherwise, we will move on to our next agenda item. So, okay. Is there anyone on the board right now who wishes to amend in any way the agenda that we have before us? Okay, I know that as a result of our closed session, we couldn't get everything done that we wanted to accomplish in that time we had. So the board is going to go back into closed session upon motion at the conclusion of our meeting. So I guess technically that's an amendment to the agenda, but we'll entertain a motion at that time after new business. So if no other changes from anyone on the board, then we will go right into the substantive issues. And first is the review of the additional quotes and the Chromebook purchase approval. So MJ, you want to start us out?
Yes, members of the Board of Education, thank you so much for the opportunity to share with you tonight the additional quotes that you directed us to obtain for the Chromebook purchase to expand the one-to-one digital learning program into second grade. As we plan for this purchase, as we plan for all of our purchases through our refresh cycles for each year for grades third and sixth, the Lenovo 5E Gen 2 was the make and model that we had selected, and we selected that based on several items, the specifications that we are for that, dual camera, 4 gigs of RAM, 32 gigabytes of hard drive. So that's what we went to quote for. We made sure that the selection of the Lenovo model was going to be supported by our current infrastructure with parts and repair as we support it throughout the life of the Chromebook, the life of the refresh cycle. We find costs based on the quantities that we need, and we also take into consideration vendor business practices, best responsiveness, what they have in stock, and their relationship with the manufacturer. So since we are already expanding our fleet with the Lenovo 500E Gen 2, with our refresh years, it made sense that we maintain the same make and model in support of this launch year for second grade. So as you can see from the chart that I provided of the quotes that we've received, the district's recommending that we award the purchase of the Chromebooks for second grade to TRA, the lowest bid that came in.
So MJ, is TRA Technology Resource Advisors out of Milwaukee?
Yes,
Okay. And have we done business with them before?
we have.
In what capacity?
They have provided the Chromebooks, the Lenovo 500E Gen 2s last year. And we also do some repairs with them
How long have we been doing business with them?
since last year.
And I'm assuming since you're looking to get business to purchase from them again, the service has been good.
Yes. And I mean, they additionally proved their good support through the remote learning times when they actually came around and picked up devices that were in need of repair, and really extended their services to us during that time.
What assurances have they given you that stock is available, 550 of these is available? Because my review of some calls I've made and research I've done is that there's no inventory available right now around the country of this unit.
Yeah, so several of the quotes that had come in were estimating a arrival in August for the Lenovo's, probably like mid-August, end of August. But TRE actually has some in stock, actually a good number in stock. And I think they kind of thought ahead in terms of working with Lenovo to supply their supply what they had. So
they have 550 in stock they've committed to us if we approve this contract.
yes.
Okay, and then can you explain the pricing on these? Because the advertised price of this at most places, I mean, if I did the math on this, I think at 550 units at the price we're paying, we're talking about what is that? $293 a unit.
Mm-hmm. Correct.
So how do they get their price down to that level compared to, the average price out on the internet for this unit being about $350, $360?
So two things. One, we had already gone and obtained 1,200 units for our third and sixth grade with TRA. They did come in with the lowest price as well during that time. And so they coupled that price with the additional 550 that we had gone out and asked them about. We wanted to make sure they had stock, but they also said, since you had already purchased a large quantity, they were affording us a really low price based on that quantity. So that was one factor. The second factor is that the way resellers is the moment that we go out to, let's say, price out a quantity of a particular make and model, the manufacturer works with the first person that you talk to, in a sense, the first company that you talk to, and they guarantee them the most competitive price. And then after that, it goes to the next person's. So it's something that they call deal registration. So a lot of manufacturers have gone to this type of model, similarly to Apple, where they kind of cut through the chase in terms of the pricing that's out there.
And so is there going to be something in the contract with them or the purchase order that commits them to the 550, and that if they're unable to supply those, that there's, you know, damages to the district as a result of that?
Yes.
So Tony, is that typical that there's in this type of a vendor contract that we would have something like that, like a liquidated damages provision in it?
I would have to check with our corporate department. I could not speak. I do not review those kinds of agreements enough. But I could double check. But if MJ says that there's something in there, we could definitely take a look at it.
Yeah. So is your concern, Rick, is that they wouldn't be able to deliver what we need in time?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And I mean, they're coming in at a price that's wildly under almost every one of your other quotes that you've gotten, with the exception of one. And I hear you on the deal pricing with Lenovo, but if they don't come back with that, and they string us along until late July, till it gets on its way, and then August 1st comes around, and then we're staring down the barrel of $300,000 to buy those, Chromebooks, and we don't have a choice because we're starting school in 3 weeks. I would expect there to be some provision in that contract that would give us damages.
Yes, and that's in fact one of the stipulations of obtaining the quote. Is that's one of the first questions we ask: how much do you have, and when can we get it? So.
Okay. Other questions, thoughts from the board? So we're being asked to approve right now because we already approved the single source or sole source from last week, the Apple purchase. That tonight is just we're being asked to approve that 161, 150 number for the Chromebooks. So right now, I mean, I guess my concern is with respect to that ability to hold them to the terms of this purchase, because a normal purchase order doesn't have that type of a provision in it. I mean, if this is just really a purchase, there's not usually those kind of terms where there's damages available to us if they don't deliver in time. But I'd be okay with this if that agreement had that, but that's not the motion we have on the table, or that will be on the table tonight. The motion right now is just to approve the purchase. So I don't know if anybody has thoughts on that.
My only thought is, of course, when we discussed this last board meeting, that I don't want to do this kind of purchase anymore without going out for bid. But I appreciate MJ's efforts, and that in the future, of course, I have to say it, that we go out for bid for this kind of purchase, and we put the RFP together and we do it the right way. But I believe this company probably would have come in with the lowest bid anyway. So it's something we know we need to do. I just want to make sure we do it the right way in the future.
Okay. Anyone else have any thoughts before we put the motion on the table?
I would just say, to that end, I would hope that we revisit some sort of procurement policy in one of our next meetings.
Okay. All right, we've got a motion in our board packet for tonight if anyone wants to make that.
I move that the Board of Education of Community Consolidated School District 64, Park Ridge-Niles, Illinois, approve the purchase of Chromebook devices from TRA to expand the one-to-one digital learning program through second grade in the amount of $161,150.
Second.
Rebecca, you had the second? Yep, okay. Denise made the motion, Rebecca's got the second. Any other discussion on this? Again, I'm weighing whether or not I should vote no on this because I think the motion itself doesn't speak to the issue of holding them accountable for, delivery of these within a set amount of time. So again, I'm not going to hold the board hostage on this, but for me personally, if it doesn't have a provision in there that says it's got to be delivered by a certain date, or the district's entitled to damages, I would not be in favor of the motion. Or in favor of the contract, I guess, more importantly. But I'm one vote.
Well, it sounds like MJ, you are confident on that, which you've talked to the vendor, you're confident on that. And if they're not delivered, certainly it's going to be a big headache for you. And so, it's in your best interest that they are delivered. Although I do hear your point, Rick, since these seem to be hot commodities right now with remote learning. So.
Yeah, my only concern is that it's not in writing. If we get it, if we get a verbal, that's one thing. If it's in the contract, that's a different story. And that's what I'm saying is I'd like to see it in whatever thing we're, whether it's a purchase order or a contract that we're signing, that they're held accountable for it. But that's it. I agree it's in MJ's best interest.
Yeah. I mean, assuredly, we already have an existing relationship with TRA, so I'm trusting that when they say that they're going to be able to deliver by July, that I trust that they're going to be able to deliver by July. But if there is some verbiage that you want us to include on the purchase order, I mean, we can get that from Tony and
but
have it right in them.
Yeah, my concern on that is just because we produce the language doesn't mean they're going to agree to it. I could not sit here and opine that they'll guarantee it. Again, this is the outside of my area. I'd have to check with James to see what that would be, but I tend to agree with Rick. I don't know if a company like this is going to put that much risk in the delivery. It's probably the right to cancel or something like that would come up. But it's a tough situation because I understand that you need this technology as soon as possible.
All right, any other thoughts, questions before we go to vote?
I mean, the remedy in the future would be that we would think twice before we do business with them again if they do blow this deadline.
No,
Right.
For sure.
Yeah, certainly
For sure.
Yeah.
But I just want everybody to be clear, there is no assurance. It's just, I mean, there's no assurance at all we get these things delivered, other than them saying they will.
Yes, and we have a proven track record with them, so we're relying on that.
Right. But the reality is inventory, I mean, regardless, inventory's rough right now across the country with this particular model, and who knows? They may be out of their control. Lenovo may not, be able to get them enough. So who knows? All right. Any other? Sorry, somebody was going to say.
I was just going to say, I think in all of my conversations with all of the companies that we were getting quotes from, I believe they gave honest answers in terms of like when they could deliver. So.
Okay. Any other questions, thoughts? All right. Anything, Natasha, from the public on this?
Nothing from the public.
Okay.
Okay, Little,
Yes.
Biaggi,
No.
Sotos,
Yes.
Pearl,
Yes.
Salas, yes, Sanchez,
Yes.
Riles,
No.
motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. We've got one other issue, and that is a personnel report. If somebody would like to make a motion on that.
I move that the Board of Education of Community Consolidated School District 64, Park Ridge-Niles, approve the personnel report for the May 26, 2020, noting that the report is based on the recommendation of the superintendent and not upon the board's direct knowledge regarding any of the specific individuals selected for employment.
Second.
Fred had the second, Denise had the motion. Any discussion on this? I know we had some briefing in closed on this as well too. Any further discussion before going to vote? And anything from the public, Natasha?
Nothing from the public.
Okay, Little,
Yes.
Sanchez,
Yes.
Pearl,
Yes.
Salas, yes, Riles,
Yes.
Sotos,
Yes.
Biagi,
Yes.
motion carries.
Great, thank you. Any new business? Okay. Again, at the beginning of the meeting when we were in closed, we discussed needing to go back into closed to continue to discuss matters of collective bargaining under 2C2. So do we have a motion to go back into closed?
So moved.
Second.
Fred had the second. Any discussion on going into closed? Okay.
Are
Okay,
we gonna-
Riles,
Are we going to come close and go back into open, or that we're done?
Yeah, we'll have to go back into open just to close the public meeting at that point, but it'll be quick.
Okay.
okay, Riles,
Yes.
Salas, yes, Little,
Yes.
Sanchez,
Yes.
Pearl,
Yes.
Biagi,
Yes.
Sotos,
Yes.
motion carries.
Okay.
Go right ahead.
Okay, the board is back from its second closed session of the evening under 2C2 to discuss collective bargaining related issues. And I believe there is going to be a motion to go back into closed session under 2C1 to discuss employment related issues. Is there such a motion?
So moved.
Okay, Larry's made the motion. Is there a second?
I second it.
Carol has the second. Is there any discussion? Okay. roll
Okay,
call.
Salas, yes, Biagi,
Yes.
Little,
Yes.
Riles,
Yes.
Sanchez,
Yes.
Sotos,
Yes.
Pearl,
Yes.
motion carries.
Thank you. All right, we'll be back in closed.
Go right ahead.
Okay, the board is back from its third closed session of the evening. This last one was on 2C1 related to employment matters for the district. And with that, I think we've already asked for new business and there was none. So if there is nothing else from the board, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So
So
moved.
moved.
So moved.
Rebecca's got the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Tom's got the second. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, thank you, everyone.